Have you ever gone to bed feeling perfectly fine, only to wake up unable to move one side of your body? Your words tangled, your mind in a fog. For many people over 60, this is not a distant story. It is the terrifying reality of a stroke that strikes silently in the night. No symptoms, no warning. Independence is stolen in a single moment. What shocks most seniors is that the trigger is not always alcohol, smoking, or junk food. Sometimes it comes from something you've trusted your entire life. Fruit. A soft banana, a handful of grapes, or a sweet slice of pineapple can quietly tip the balance inside an aging body and set the stage for disaster while you sleep. I know this sounds unbelievable, but after decades of working with older adults, I've seen it again and again. Once you're past 60, your body no longer handles sugar, potassium, acid, or medication interactions the way it used to. What was once healthy can now raise your stroke risk overnight. And that's why today, I want to walk you through 6 everyday fruits that may look innocent, but can become dangerous if eaten the wrong way. By the end, you'll see how a simple choice at the dinner table can protect your senior health, your brain, and your independence.
Bananas feel safe, don't they? Soft, sweet, and easy to digest. Many older adults believe they are the perfect snack for senior health. I've met countless patients who told me, "Doctor, bananas have always been my comfort food." But after 60, the same banana that once gave you energy may quietly raise your stroke risk. You see, as bananas ripen, the starches break down into simple sugar. That's why an overripe banana tastes sweeter. But the sweetness hides a danger. It carries a high glycemic index, pushing your blood sugar up fast. And if your body no longer handles sugar well, this spike can be the spark that lights a fire in fragile blood vessels. Let me share a story with you. Margaret, a 76-year-old retired librarian from Illinois, loved starting her morning with 1 or 2 bananas. Sometimes she blended them into a smoothie, thinking it was the healthiest way to begin her day. But one morning, she woke up dizzy, her words slurred. Her husband rushed her to the ER, where doctors diagnosed a mild ischemic stroke. Her labs revealed high potassium levels and spiking blood pressure overnight. The doctors explained that while bananas weren't the only cause, the combination of excess sugar, potassium overload, and morning dehydration had created the perfect storm. Margaret's story is a warning for every senior who trusts bananas blindly. What exactly happened to Margaret? As we age, our kidneys slow down. They no longer flush out potassium as efficiently. At the same time, insulin sensitivity weakens, making it harder for the body to manage blood sugar. Add stiffening blood vessels, and suddenly a soft, overripe banana can push your system beyond its limit. A surge of sugar raises your blood pressure, while a rush of potassium can disturb your heart rhythm. In someone with narrowed arteries, this can mean a clot forming in the brain. That's why something so innocent, a mushy banana with brown spots, can tip the balance from health to harm in just one morning. Now, I know what many people over 60 are thinking, but I've eaten bananas all my life. That's exactly the point. What was safe at 40 or 50 is not always safe at 70 or 80. The aging body processes food differently. When you were younger, your liver, kidneys, and blood vessels had more reserve, more flexibility. After 60, everything slows. That's why Margaret's daily routine, which once seemed harmless, became risky. This is not about fear, but awareness. The truth is, bananas are not the enemy. It's the overripe banana, eaten in the wrong way, that quietly raises your proven stroke risk. So, how do you know if your banana is too ripe? If it's soft, mushy, and covered in brown spots, its glycemic index is much higher than when it was greenish and firm. One study on aging metabolism showed that seniors experienced sharper blood sugar spikes after eating overripe bananas compared to younger adults. That sugar surge doesn't just fade away, it stresses delicate brain vessels. Over time, these small stresses add up like cracks in a water pipe. Eventually, one morning, a
crack turns into a rupture or a clot. And that's when a stroke happens, not out of nowhere, but from years of tiny ignored signals. But here's the hope. Small changes make a big difference. After her stroke, Margaret didn't give up bananas. She simply changed how she ate them. Instead of 2 overripe bananas on an empty stomach, she switched to half a small, slightly green banana, eaten only after drinking water and adding a little protein, like yogurt or nuts. Within weeks, her blood pressure stabilized, her morning energy returned, and she felt stronger. This is the lesson. You don't need to abandon fruit, you need to adapt it to the needs of an older adult body. And that adaptation can mean the difference between risk and resilience. Imagine your bloodstream as a river. When you pour too much sugar and potassium into it quickly, the river swells, crashes, and erodes the banks. For seniors with fragile vessels, this turbulence creates inflammation and clotting. In fact, research has shown that sudden blood sugar fluctuations are directly linked to higher risk of ischemic stroke in people over 65. That's why seniors should avoid letting their diet cause spikes and crashes. Bananas, when overripe and eaten alone, are like dumping buckets of water into the river all at once. But eaten wisely, they can become gentle streams instead of destructive floods. I often remind my patients, it's not about banning fruit, it's about timing and pairing. Never eat an overripe banana on an empty stomach. Always drink water first to prevent nighttime dehydration from making your blood thicker in the morning. Pair the banana with protein or healthy fat to slow down sugar absorption. And keep portions small. Half a banana is often enough for a senior. This advice may sound simple, but it can protect your brain health and heart from hidden stress. It's these small adjustments that turn a dangerous habit into a safe one. So if you love bananas, here is my clear guidance. Choose smaller, greener ones. Avoid the soft, brown spotted fruit late at night or first thing in the morning. And if you are on blood pressure medication or heart drugs, ask your doctor how much potassium is safe for you. Remember, what matters is not only the fruit itself, but how your body at this age handles it. Bananas are packed with nutrients, but for a senior on medication, those nutrients can backfire if ignored. Protect yourself with awareness, not fear.
And here's the takeaway. Bananas are not the enemy, but overripe bananas, especially eaten in large amounts or on an empty stomach, can quietly push vulnerable seniors toward a stroke. Margaret's story is proof of that. If you are over 60, your best defense is not giving up fruit, but eating it with wisdom. Your choices at the breakfast table can either strain your blood vessels or safeguard them for years to come. And bananas are just the beginning, because the next fruit on our list, tiny, sweet, and seemingly harmless, may carry an even greater risk. Let's talk about grapes. Tiny, sweet, refreshing, grapes look harmless, don't they? Many seniors keep them on the table as a light snack, shared with grandchildren or tossed into a salad. But here's the hidden truth. For people over 60, grapes can quietly raise the risk of stroke. They are not just fruit, they are concentrated packets of glucose and fructose. When you eat a handful, especially on an empty stomach, the sugar floods straight into your bloodstream. And because the aging body processes sugar more slowly, that sudden spike doesn't just fade away. It strains delicate vessels in the brain and heart. Evelyn, a 79-year-old retired music teacher from Colorado, is a perfect example. Every morning, she enjoyed a large bowl of red grapes while reading her newspaper. She believed it was the healthiest choice. But one day, while writing a birthday card for her grandson, her hand began to tremble. Minutes later, she couldn't remember how to spell congratulations. Her daughter rushed her to the ER, where doctors diagnosed a transient ischemic attack, a mini stroke. Her lab showed pre-diabetic markers,
inflammation, and a sharp sugar spike. Evelyn was shocked. She thought she was protecting her senior health, but in reality, she was adding stress to her most fragile organs. Why do grapes pose such a risk for older adults? Because they are pure sugar in a small package. Unlike larger fruits with fiber that slows absorption, grapes deliver quick sugar loads. Studies on seniors have shown that frequent blood sugar spikes accelerate vessel damage, leading to microscopic swelling and tiny clots. At first, you don't feel them, but day after day, they accumulate. One morning, the result may be slurred speech or loss of balance. This is why something so innocent, a handful of grapes, can be far more dangerous for a senior with delicate vessels than for a teenager with strong metabolism. Many people over 60 tell me, "Doctor, I eat grapes because they feel light and refreshing." I understand. Grapes are comforting, familiar, and seem like a better choice than cookies. But here's what most don't realize. After 60, your insulin response slows dramatically. What was once a harmless snack now acts like a shock to your circulation. And because seniors often take medications for blood pressure or diabetes, the body's already working harder to maintain balance. When you add a sugar rush from grapes, the system is pushed beyond safety. This is why Evelyn's morning habit became a hidden risk. Think of your blood vessels like fragile glass pipes. When sugar surges, it scratches the inside, leaving tiny cracks. The body, in its wisdom, tries to repair these cracks by forming clots. Small at first, invisible to you, but each clot is like a ticking clock. If one blocks blood flow to the brain, a stroke occurs. Research in older populations has confirmed that even healthy sugars from fruit can fuel inflammation when eaten in excess or without balance. This is the paradox. Grapes carry antioxidants, but in seniors, their sugar load can outweigh their benefits if eaten the wrong way. So what's the solution? Moderation and pairing. Never eat grapes by the bowl. Instead, limit yourself to a small handful, 10 to 12 grapes, and always pair them with protein or fat, like a few almonds or a slice of cheese. This slows the sugar release, protecting your brain health and heart. And most importantly, avoid grapes at night. Your body processes sugar more slowly while you sleep, and that means a sugar surge at bedtime can linger, stressing your system when it should be recovering. This small adjustment can turn grapes from a silent risk into a safe enjoyment. Let me share Evelyn's outcome. After her mini stroke, she was devastated, worried she could no longer enjoy the food she loved. But with guidance, she adjusted. Instead of 2 cups of grapes, she switched to 10 grapes in the afternoon, paired with a handful of walnuts. She stopped eating them late at night. Within months, her blood sugar stabilized, her morning headaches disappeared, and her doctor noticed less vascular inflammation on her labs. Evelyn didn't have to give up grapes. She learned to respect how her aging body handled them. That's the key lesson for every senior listening now. Insight from our viewers says it best. One man commented, "My father always eats watermelon late. Now I understand why he wakes up so weak." Senior health matters. The same is true for grapes. They may feel harmless in the moment, but the body gives subtle warnings: dizziness, trembling hands, cloudy memory. These whispers are often ignored until they become a shout in the form of a stroke. I urge you, don't wait for a crisis. If you notice symptoms after eating grapes, even mild ones, that's your body telling you to change. Awareness can save your independence. From a medical standpoint, grapes are not forbidden. They contain vitamins, antioxidants, and hydration. But for someone over 60, they must be treated with caution, especially if you are on blood pressure medication or blood thinners, since sugar spikes can interfere with how your drugs stabilize circulation. Ask your doctor if grapes are safe in your daily routine. And remember, small choices protect your brain. 10 grapes with nuts are safe. 2 bowls on an empty stomach are not. Protecting senior health is not about denial. It's about wisdom in portion and timing. Here's the takeaway. Grapes are not the sweet, harmless snack they appear to be. For older adults, especially those on medication, they can silently create conditions for stroke through sugar spikes, inflammation, and microclots. Evelyn's story proves that even healthy habits can turn risky with age. If you're over 60, enjoy grapes wisely, in small portions, paired with protein, and never late at night. Your brain and heart will thank you. And if grapes surprised you, wait until you hear about the next fruit. Pineapple, the tropical delight on so many dinner tables, may carry risks that are even more alarming. Pineapple feels like a tropical treat, doesn't it? Sweet, juicy, and refreshing after dinner. Many seniors swap cookies for pineapple, believing it's the healthier choice. But here's what most people over 60 don't realize. Pineapple can quietly create the perfect storm for a stroke risk. It's not just about sugar. Pineapple contains an enzyme called bromelain. In small amounts, bromelain helps with digestion, but in larger amounts, or when combined with blood thinners or heart medication, it can interfere with your body's ability to clot properly. And when your blood is too thin, the risk is not only clotting, but also brain bleeds, a type of stroke that is much harder to recover from. Let me tell you about Clara, a 77-year-old retired choir director from North Carolina. She thought she was making a wise choice. Every night after dinner, she'd slice fresh pineapple instead of cake. She was proud of her discipline. But one morning she woke up dizzy, unable to walk straight. Her daughter noticed her speech was slurred. At the hospital, scans confirmed a small posterior stroke, one that affected her balance and memory. Her labs showed high blood sugar, altered platelet levels, and evidence of nighttime reflux. Clara's doctors explained that her beloved pineapple, eaten right before bed, had created a deadly combination: sugar, acid, and bromelain. So, why is pineapple so risky at night? First, it's one of the most acidic fruits. That acid can trigger silent acid reflux while you sleep, even if you don't feel heartburn. Tiny amounts of stomach acid can creep into your airway, lowering oxygen to your brain. Studies have linked low oxygen stress during sleep to early morning strokes, which are often the most severe. Add pineapple's high sugar load, which spikes your blood sugar just before your body slows down for the night, and you have the worst possible timing. Instead of resting, your circulation is battling instability until morning. The second hidden danger is bromelain itself. Seniors often take blood pressure medication, aspirin, or anticoagulants to prevent clots. Bromelain can intensify those effects, making your blood thinner than intended. This increases the risk of bleeding in delicate brain vessels. In younger bodies, the effect is mild. But in someone over 60, with fragile arteries and medication already at work, pineapple can tip the balance too far. That's why doctors warn seniors not to eat pineapple before bed, especially if they're on prescriptions that affect clotting. The combination can quietly turn a healthy-looking fruit into a silent threat. Clara's story still lingers with me. She told me, "Doctor, I thought I was doing everything right." And she was, by most standards. She avoided cookies, chose fruit, and tried to live clean. But her mistake was timing. By eating pineapple every night, she unknowingly exposed her aging body to 3 dangers at once: sugar spikes, acid reflux, and bromelain interaction. Her mini-stroke wasn't caused by one factor, it was the combination. This is what makes pineapple tricky. It looks healthy, but when mixed with the vulnerabilities of age and medication, it becomes unpredictable and risky. So what can you do if you love pineapple? The solution is not to ban it completely. Instead, adjust how and when you eat it. First, keep portions small, just a few bites, not a whole bowl. Second, eat pineapple earlier in the day, never before bed. Third, always have it with a meal that includes protein, which slows down the sugar release. And finally, if you take blood thinners or heart medications, ask your doctor whether pineapple is safe for you. These small precautions can protect your brain health while still letting you enjoy the flavors you love.
Think of it this way. Pineapple can be both medicine and poison, depending on the context. In moderate amounts during the day, it aids digestion and provides vitamin C. But eaten in excess or at night, it can undermine the very stability your body needs. For seniors already coping with aging vessels, medication interactions, and nighttime dehydration, pineapple acts like pouring fuel on a fragile fire. It doesn't always cause immediate symptoms, but one day, after weeks or months of nightly indulgence, the result may be a dizzy spell, slurred words, or a sudden collapse. That's the silent danger. One viewer insight captures this perfectly. The part about nighttime dehydration really opened my eyes. Pineapple's acidity and sugar make nighttime dehydration even worse. When your blood thickens overnight and oxygen dips due to reflux, your brain is vulnerable. Add bromelain disrupting clotting, and the risk multiplies. These are not dramatic warning signs you'll notice. They're silent processes building in the dark while you sleep. That's why seniors often wake up with confusion, imbalance, or headaches, never realizing their bedtime fruit was part of the problem. It's not about fear. It's about listening to the body's whispers before they become screams.
From a scientific perspective, this is not guesswork. Clinical reports confirm that bromelain interacts with anticoagulant drugs, enhancing their effect. Gastroenterology studies show that nighttime acid reflux without symptoms can reduce oxygen saturation, stressing the brain. Endocrinology research confirms that sugar consumed at night spikes blood glucose and increases vascular stress. When combined, these factors create a storm unique to seniors. Your body is different now. It needs food timing and moderation more than ever. Recognizing this doesn't take away your pleasures, it gives you power to prevent strokes and maintain independence. So here's the takeaway. Pineapple is not your enemy, but if you are over 60, eating pineapple at night, especially alongside medication, can quietly raise your stroke risk. Clara's story is a reminder that even wise choices can turn risky when the body changes. Enjoy pineapple earlier in the day, in small amounts, and always with caution if you take heart or blood-thinning drugs. Protecting your senior health doesn't mean giving up fruit. It means respecting your body's limits and adapting. And if pineapple surprised you, wait until you hear about the next fruit. Watermelon, the symbol of hydration, may in fact leave your brain dangerously dry. Watermelon looks like the perfect food for seniors. It's light, juicy, and 90% water. Most people believe it's the best way to stay hydrated, especially on hot summer days. But here's the shocking truth. For people over 60, watermelon can actually increase the risk of stroke. The reason is simple, yet hidden. Watermelon acts like a natural diuretic. Instead of keeping fluid inside, it makes you urinate more. And if you're already taking blood pressure medication or water pills, this double effect can pull too much fluid out of your system. Overnight, while you sleep, your body may quietly slip into dehydration. Let me tell you about Howard, an 82-year-old retired postal worker from Indiana. He lived a disciplined life, walking daily, avoiding sweets, doing his best to stay healthy. One of his evening habits was eating 2 or 3 large slices of watermelon to stay hydrated. It felt refreshing, safe, even virtuous. But one morning, Howard woke up dizzy. When he tried to stand, he collapsed. At the ER, doctors found his blood pressure dangerously low. His blood thickened from dehydration, and scans showed a small ischemic stroke.
Howard never suspected that his trusted watermelon, eaten faithfully each night, was draining him instead of nourishing him.
So, what really happened to Howard? At night, your blood pressure naturally dips. If you combine this dip with excess urination from watermelon and diuretic medication, your body loses too much fluid silently. Dehydration makes your blood thicker, like syrup instead of water. Thick blood flows more slowly, giving clots a chance to form in narrow aging arteries. That's why nighttime dehydration is one of the most underestimated risks for seniors. You don't feel thirsty while you sleep. You simply wake up weaker, dizzier, or worse, unable to speak or move. Watermelon, though rich in water, tricks the body into losing more than it gains. Many older adults comment, "My father always eats watermelon late. Now I understand why he wakes up so weak." This insight reflects a painful truth. What feels refreshing in the evening may leave the body dangerously dry by morning. For seniors with blood pressure issues or fragile vessels, this dry state can trigger silent strokes. The saddest part is that there are no obvious warning signs. No chest pain, no shortness of breath, just a quiet decline overnight. That's why I always tell my patients, pay attention to how you feel in the morning. Dizziness, dry mouth, or imbalance can be whispers from your brain crying for help.
Scientifically, watermelon is classified as a mild diuretic because of its amino acid content, especially citrulline, which increases urine output. For a younger person, this effect is harmless, but for someone over 60 already on medication, it compounds the drug's impact. Research shows that dehydration thickens blood plasma and increases clot formation, a key pathway to stroke. In fact, strokes that occur in the early morning hours are often linked to dehydration. When you think you are hydrating with watermelon at night, you may actually be priming your body for a stroke while you sleep. Howard's story could have ended differently. After his stroke, he changed his habit. Instead of eating watermelon after dinner, he switched to small slices earlier in the afternoon, always with a pinch of salt or a sip of coconut water to keep electrolytes balanced. His doctor also adjusted his medication timing. Within weeks, his dizziness faded and his energy returned in the morning. This small shift, timing and balance, saved his independence. And that's the hope I want every senior to carry. You don't have to give up fruit, but you must respect how your aging body responds to it.
Imagine your bloodstream at night as a river. If the river dries up, its current slows and debris piles up, blocking the flow. That's what happens when dehydration thickens your blood. Watermelon, eaten late, drains the river instead of filling it. For seniors, this slow current allows clots to form. And when one of those clots travels to the brain, it blocks oxygen, causing a stroke. It doesn't happen every night, but each night you repeat the habit, you stack the odds against yourself. This is why awareness is power. Recognizing the risk before it strikes can change the story entirely. So what's the safe way for seniors to enjoy watermelon? First, avoid eating it at night. Second, eat small portions, 1 slice, not 3. Third, pair it with electrolytes. A sprinkle of salt, a handful of nuts, or a little cheese helps your body hold on to water instead of losing it. And most importantly, if you are on diuretics or blood pressure medication, talk to your doctor before making watermelon a daily habit. These adjustments may sound minor, but they protect your brain health and ensure that your hydration strategy is truly helping, not hurting.
The most dangerous part about watermelon is the false sense of security. Seniors think, "I'm hydrating," when in fact, they may be draining themselves. One study showed that seniors with poor fluid balance had higher rates of silent strokes, even when they believed they were drinking or eating water-rich foods. Howard thought he was safe. He was not. This is the lesson. Fruit is not just about nutrients. It's about timing, balance, and respect for the body's new limits. What feels refreshing can become risky unless you adapt to the realities of age. So here's the takeaway. Watermelon is not the harmless summer fruit it appears to be. For people over 60, especially those on blood pressure medication, it can trigger nighttime dehydration, thicken the blood, and quietly raise the chance of a stroke. Howard's collapse was not random. It was the predictable outcome of a nightly routine. But with awareness and small changes, he regained his strength. And so can you. Enjoy watermelon, but do it wisely. And if watermelon surprised you, wait until you hear about the next fruit. Oranges, long praised for heart health, may actually interfere with your medications in ways most seniors never expect. A glass of orange juice in the morning, or a bright orange on the breakfast table, it feels like the symbol of health. Seniors often believe citrus is the safest way to support heart health and boost vitamin C. But for people over 60, oranges can quietly become a hidden danger. The risk isn't only the blood sugar spike from juice. The real problem is a natural compound called furanocoumarin. This compound interferes with the liver enzymes that process many common medications. When that happens, your body either holds on to too much of a drug or fails to process it at all. Both outcomes raise your stroke risk in silence. Let me tell you about Elbert, a 79-year-old retired bus driver from Georgia. Every morning, he loved his ritual, a glass of fresh squeezed orange juice with breakfast, taken alongside his cholesterol and blood pressure medications. He called it sunshine in a glass. But over time, he began to feel dizzy, lightheaded, and confused some mornings. One day, he collapsed getting out of his recliner. At the hospital, scans showed a mild ischemic stroke, and his blood work revealed dangerously high drug levels, even though he hadn't changed his dosage. The culprit? The orange juice he trusted had blocked his liver from processing his medications.
So what exactly went wrong in Albert's case? Normally, your liver uses an enzyme system called cytochrome P450 to process drugs like statins, calcium channel blockers, and blood thinners. But compounds in oranges, especially concentrated in juice, can block this system. The result? Medications build up in your bloodstream, becoming too strong. A blood pressure drug that once worked gently now lowers pressure dangerously. A statin that used to protect your heart now causes muscle inflammation and even brain fog. These shifts are invisible until one day you feel weak, confused, or worse, your brain is starved of blood flow. The scary part is that this interaction doesn't come with clear warnings. Most seniors believe that if they've taken a drug for years without issue, it's safe forever. But when you add daily orange juice, the balance changes. The aging body processes medications more slowly to begin with. Combine that with citrus interference, and the system overloads. This is why Albert's story is so important. He thought he was improving his senior health with fruit. In reality, his healthy habit was quietly undermining the very medications meant to protect him from a stroke.
Here's something most people don't realize. It's not just oranges. Grapefruit, Seville oranges, and even some tangerines contain the same dangerous compound. But because orange juice is so common, it's the most frequent trigger I see in older adults. One clinical review found that citrus drug interactions can raise medication levels by as much as 300%. That's not a small difference. It's the line between safe and toxic. For a senior on blood pressure medication, that can mean a sudden collapse. For someone on blood thinners, it can mean unstable blood at a higher risk of clotting or bleeding in the brain. I know this may sound frightening, but here's the good news. Small changes make a big difference. Instead of drinking orange juice daily, limit it to occasional treats. If you love citrus flavor, try a splash of lemon or lime in water. They contain far less of the interfering compound. And most importantly, never take your medications with orange juice. Use plain water instead. By making this simple change, you protect your brain health and give your medications the chance to do their job safely. Awareness is the key. Most strokes linked to fruit interactions can be prevented. One viewer insight says it clearly. At 74, I've always loved fruit, but never knew it could affect my meds. This is exactly the message every senior needs to hear. Fruit is not the problem. It's how it interacts with an aging body already dependent on medicine. If you or your loved ones have noticed dizziness, confusion, or sudden drops in blood pressure after breakfast, don't ignore it. It may not be the pill, it may be the orange juice sitting next to it. Recognizing this connection early could save your independence, your memory, and your future mornings. Think of it this way. Your medication is like a carefully measured tool, designed to keep your blood flowing smoothly. But when citrus blocks the liver's ability to break it down, that tool becomes a weapon turned against you. The same pill that once protected your arteries can suddenly push your pressure too low or overload your muscles and brain. It doesn't happen to everyone, but if you are over 60, the risk is higher. Why? Because your organs already work at a slower pace, and that slowdown magnifies every interaction, turning small things like a glass of juice into serious threats.
Albert's recovery took months. He gave up his daily orange juice and, with his doctor's guidance, adjusted his breakfast routine. Within weeks, his dizziness improved, his blood pressure stabilized, and he regained his energy. He told me, "Doctor, I wish someone had warned me earlier." His story is not rare. Every month, I meet seniors with similar experiences, silent interactions between citrus and medication leading to unexpected strokes. That's why I tell my patients, it's not about living in fear. It's about making wiser choices. Your morning ritual can either protect your brain or put it at risk. So here's the takeaway. Oranges are not bad, but for people over 60, especially those on statins, blood thinners, or blood pressure medication, they can quietly interfere with your treatment and raise your stroke risk. Albert's story proves that even healthy habits need a second look with age. If you love citrus, enjoy it sparingly and never with your pills. Ask your doctor if it's safe for you. Protecting your senior health means not only choosing the right foods, but also respecting how they interact with your body now. And if oranges surprised you, wait until we talk about mangoes, the sweet tropical fruit that can raise blood sugar and disrupt medication all at once.
Mangoes feel like pure joy. Soft, juicy, naturally sweet. They taste like a tropical reward. Many seniors see them as a healthier alternative to cookies or cake. But here's the truth. For people over 60, mangoes can quietly raise the risk of stroke. The danger lies in two things: extreme sugar content and a compound called mangiferin. Just 1 cup of ripe mango holds nearly 45 grams of sugar, more than a donut. For an aging body with slower insulin response, that sugar spike creates inflammation inside fragile blood vessels. Add mangiferin, which interferes with how the liver processes medications, and mangoes become more than just fruit. They become a hidden threat. William, an 83-year-old retired firefighter from Nevada, learned this the hard way. Determined to eat clean, he replaced his afternoon cookies with dried mango slices. He believed he was making the smarter choice. But after a few weeks, William began waking up dizzy. One morning, he collapsed while getting out of bed. His wife noticed the left side of his face drooping. At the hospital, scans showed a mild ischemic stroke. Blood tests revealed abnormally high medication levels, despite him taking the correct dosage. The doctors traced it back to his mango habit. The fruit he trusted had quietly overloaded his system.
What went wrong for William is something every senior must understand. Mangoes delivered 2 strikes at once. First, the sugar overload creates rapid swings in blood sugar, stressing blood vessels and encouraging clot formation. Second,
Mangiferin interferes with the P450 enzyme system in the liver, the same system responsible for breaking down many common drugs like statins, blood pressure medications, and anticoagulants. When the liver can't process those drugs efficiently, they build up in the bloodstream, turning safe doses into dangerous ones. It's like double pressure on your circulation, sugar damaging from one side, medications misfiring from the other. One insight from our audience rings true. At 74, I've always loved fruit, but never knew it could affect my meds. This is exactly the hidden risk mangoes carry. Seniors often think dried fruit is a healthy snack, but dried mango is even more concentrated, packed with sugar in every bite. For someone with blood pressure issues or on heart medication, it's like feeding fire to fragile arteries. You don't feel the damage right away. There's no pain, no clear symptom. But day after day, the risk builds, until one morning you wake up with slurred speech, dizziness, or worse, a stroke.
Think of your arteries like thin glass tubes. Sugar surges scratch the inner lining, creating tiny cracks. The body rushes to patch these cracks with clots. At the same time, drugs meant to stabilize your heart or blood pressure linger too long in your bloodstream because mangiferin slows their clearance. The result? A system overloaded, fragile vessels patched unevenly, circulation under stress. It's the perfect recipe for a blockage to form at the wrong time. For William, that blockage happened overnight, turning a harmless routine into a life-changing event. For you, it can be prevented with awareness. Scientifically, this isn't speculation. Nutrition studies confirm that ripe mangoes rank high on the glycemic index, causing rapid sugar absorption. Pharmacology research shows that mango extracts affect the cytochrome P450 enzymes, altering how medications are metabolized. For a young body, these effects are minimal, but for someone over 60 whose liver already works slower, the impact is magnified. This is why I warn seniors. Mangoes are not always safe. It's not the fruit itself, but the way it collides with age-related changes and necessary medications. Understanding this difference can save your brain and heart.
So how can you enjoy mangoes without the risk? The answer is moderation and timing. Never eat dried mango. It's sugar condensed. Limit fresh mango to just a few bites and only during the day, not before bed. Always pair it with protein or fat, like a handful of nuts, to slow down the sugar release. And most importantly, if you take heart, cholesterol, or blood pressure medication, ask your doctor whether mangoes are safe for you. These small steps transform mango from a hidden risk into an occasional treat that won't compromise your senior health. William's recovery was long but hopeful. After his stroke, he gave up dried mango and switched to small, measured portions of fresh fruit earlier in the day. His doctor adjusted his medication schedule, and within weeks, his dizzy mornings disappeared. He told me, "Doctor, I thought I was doing the right thing. I wish I had known sooner." His story reflects what so many seniors experience. Choices that seem healthy at first glance, but when mixed with an aging body and daily medication, can backfire. His regret became his lesson, and that lesson can become your prevention.
Imagine sugar as sparks and your arteries as dry wood. One spark might not matter, but throw enough sparks on fragile wood, and eventually there's fire. Mangoes are full of sparks, delicious, sweet, and tempting. For a child, they burn harmlessly. For a senior, they ignite quietly, day after day, until one day, the fire can't be contained. Add medications lingering too long, and the blaze grows hotter. This is why I urge seniors not to take mangoes lightly. It's not about fear, it's about respecting the way your body changes with age, and preventing a preventable tragedy. So here's the takeaway. Mangoes are not villains, but they carry hidden risks for people over 60, especially those taking heart or blood pressure medications. Their sugar overload fuels inflammation, while mangiferin interferes with drug clearance. Together, they raise your stroke risk more than you might imagine. William's story is proof of that. The solution is not to ban mangoes forever, but to enjoy them sparingly, at the right time, and always with awareness. Protecting your brain health is about wisdom, not fear. And if mangoes surprised you, remember, the bigger picture is this: fruit is powerful. It can heal or it can harm. The choice depends on how you use it.
You may have thought that fruit could never harm you. For decades, bananas, grapes, pineapple, watermelon, oranges, and mangoes felt like symbols of vitality. But as you've seen, for people over 60, the same fruits can quietly become a stroke risk if eaten at the wrong time, in the wrong way, or alongside medications. You go to bed feeling fine and wake up unable to speak? That haunting reality we began with is not random. It is the predictable outcome of habits that once felt safe but no longer fit an aging body. Think about Margaret, Evelyn, Clara, Howard, Elbert, and William. They are not statistics. They are people like you. Retired librarians, teachers, postal workers, bus drivers, firefighters. Each one believed they were making healthy choices. Each one was blindsided by a stroke or mini-stroke triggered in part by fruit. Their stories show the truth. It's not about villainizing food. It's about recognizing that senior health requires new rules. What worked at 40 does not always work at 70, and ignoring that difference can cost you your independence, your memory, even your life. The good news is that awareness changes everything. Bananas are safe when eaten greenish, with protein. Grapes can be enjoyed in small handfuls, never at night. Pineapple belongs earlier in the day, never before bed. Watermelon must be balanced with electrolytes, not eaten after dinner. Oranges and their juice should never mix with statins, blood pressure drugs, or blood thinners. Mangoes are fine only in tiny portions, paired with protein, and never dried. These adjustments are simple, but they guard your brain health and heart against silent threats. You don't have to give up fruit, you just have to eat it wisely.
One viewer insight said, "My mom's blood pressure improved after following this advice." That's the hope I want you to carry. By respecting your body's new limits, you can turn food from risk into protection. By listening to whispers like dizziness, morning weakness, or slurred words, you can act before a crisis. And by sharing this knowledge, you can help your loved ones avoid the heartbreak of waking up to a stroke that could have been prevented. Remember, protecting senior wellness is not about fear. It is about taking small, deliberate steps that let you enjoy the years ahead with strength and clarity. So here's my final message. Fruit is powerful. It can heal or it can harm. The difference lies in how you, as someone over 60, choose to use it. Don't let innocent habits steal your future. Instead, adapt, adjust, and stay aware. If this journey has opened your eyes, leave a comment with the word AWARE. Share your story because your experience may save another senior's life. And if you want more guidance on preventing stroke and heart attack, stay with us here at Stroke and Heart Attack Knowledge. You've come this far with wisdom. Now protect it for yourself and for the ones you love.